Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a concept from the source material that is, quite frankly, genuinely life-changing. We're going to look at how our own emotional reactivity might be secretly sabotaging our success, and more importantly, how to put a stop to it. We're going to learn how to master that tiny, absolutely crucial space between a stimulus and your response.
Okay, let's dive straight into this. This is a massive paradigm shift. We're so often taught that our emotions are these sacred inner voices guiding us to our truth, right? But the research paints a totally different picture. It tells us your emotions are not your friend. In fact, they're really just outdated biological reactions keeping us trapped in cycles of regret.
Think about it like this. These primitive impulses were literally designed to keep our ancient ancestors from getting eaten by predators. But today, that exact same life-or-death biological response triggers a catastrophic 60-second outburst just because a coworker CC'd your boss on an email. Or, the office printer jammed again. Every single time we let that happen, we are literally rewiring our brains for failure.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the cost of reactivity, your brain's sabotage system, the 4 levels of mastery, the stop method, rewiring your neural pathways, and finally, the compound effect.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the cost of reactivity, the hidden price of lost control.
So the crucial point is that an emotional outburst isn't just a momentary lapse in judgment. It's a full-blown biological event. When we react emotionally, stress hormones like cortisol flood your system and they linger for hours. And that compounds over time. We're talking staggering financial losses from angry decisions and destroyed relationships where trust is just completely withdrawn. And honestly, the scariest part? Chronic reactivity physically shrinks your prefrontal cortex. That's your brain's rational executive center. So you literally become less capable of thinking clearly.
Moving into Section 2, your brain's sabotage system. Let's lift the hood on the biology of emotion.
Deep inside your brain is the amygdala. Think of it as your primitive emotional alarm system, and it is lightning fast, reacting in a mere 12 milliseconds. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the rational, deliberate part of you, takes at least 500 milliseconds to catch up. Because of that massive speed gap, we experience what's called an amygdala hijack. Your brain mistakenly treats a critical email exactly like a saber-toothed tiger attack, and your rational mind, it completely goes offline before you even realize what's happening. It's an evolutionary mismatch, not a character flaw.
Next up is Section 3, the 4 levels of mastery, upgrading your emotional operating system.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact roadmap for gaining control. Most of us find ourselves trapped at Step 1, where we have zero awareness and are totally at the mercy of our feelings. Or maybe Step 2, where we know we're overreacting, but just can't seem to stop ourselves. But true mastery begins at Step 3. That's where you consciously choose your response based on your values. And the truly elite achievers? They push to Step 4, emotional alchemy. That is where you actively transform anger into intense motivation and fear into hyper-focused action.
Let's look at Section 4, the stop method. This is your immediate, tactical intervention.
All right, this is your real-time protocol for the exact moment things go sideways and your rational brain starts shutting down. S is for stop. At the very first physical sign of a racing heart, you need to physically disengage to signal control back to your brain. T is take a breath, which we're going to break down in just a second. O is observe. Look closely at the objective facts completely separate from your internal assumptions. And finally, P, proceed. You only move forward with a conscious response that actually aligns with your long-term goals.
Now, what's really interesting about this, it's the specific 4-4-6 ratio. This is actually a Navy SEAL box breathing technique, and it's what you use for the T in our stop method. You inhale for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and then exhale slowly for 6 seconds. That extended exhale, that's the secret weapon. It physically stimulates your vagus nerve and basically hits the biological reset button on your fight or flight response.
Pivoting to Section 5, rewiring your neural pathways, baseline optimization, and advanced tactics.
To build true long-term emotional anti-fragility, we absolutely have to start with some non-negotiable baseline habits. Without uncompromising sleep hygiene, we're talking 7+ hours in a dark, cool room, your amygdala is just going to stay hyperactive. Without strategic nutrition to stabilize your glucose, you're practically guaranteeing biochemical mood swings. And you also need strategic stress exposure.
Willingly subjecting yourself to controlled stress, like cold therapy or martial arts, literally inoculates your nervous system so you don't panic during a real crisis.
Once that baseline is set, we can break out the advanced toolkit. Take cognitive reframing. This forces you to pause and find neutral, alternative explanations instead of instantly jumping to the worst-case scenario. Then there's emotional labeling, which actually reduces amygdala activity just by forcing you to use precise vocabulary. Identifying exactly what you feel beyond just saying, "I feel bad." And somatic regulation, like progressive muscle relaxation, helps physically discharge all that trapped, frantic energy from your body.
Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds, because the hard science of neuroplasticity here is amazing. This isn't just a nice theory, it physically alters your brain. In just 2 to 4 weeks of consistent practice, you'll notice a real difference in your daily reactivity. Give it 8 to 12 weeks, and there are significant structural gray matter changes. Your rational prefrontal cortex actually grows. In 6 to 24 months, you will have completely transformed your default emotional patterns.
And that brings us to Section 6, the compound effect, the ultimate ROI of emotional control.
Mastering that microscopic space between stimulus and response isn't just some neat daily trick. It accumulates exponentially over a lifetime. Because you don't fly off the handle, you build unbreakable relational trust and psychological safety with everyone around you. Because you stay calm, your mirror neurons create this amazing upward emotional spiral for your whole team. You literally enjoy a longer lifespan thanks to lower cortisol. And the best part, you develop an unshakable inner confidence that comes from undeniable evidence of your own resilience.
So the source material leaves us with one final, very provocative challenge. Will you react to life, or will you choose your response? You now have the biological understanding and the exact tactical frameworks to be the architect of your emotional future. That space between stimulus and response, it is entirely yours to command. Start practicing today and just watch how it transforms absolutely everything. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.